Jeen Yuhs. Whew, man. I had a feeling Jeen Yuhs was gonna be good from watching the trailer, but man, even then, it blew me away. I wasn't expecting the 3-part documentary to be so powerful, inspirational, and heart-wrenching all at the same time. I did cry a little bit because it did hit home in some parts of the doc, i.e. the scenes with Donda. It surprisingly did a fantastic job humanizing Kanye West, the icon of this generation. At the same time, the documentary did a great job in showing Kanye's journey to becoming a god that soon went mad. Religion. The integral piece to make any functioning society complete. Behind every religion, there is a god pulling the strings of the world that we live in today. With the mysticism surrounding religion, there will naturally be questions. Questions that aim to legitimize or criticize the religion. But there's a question that's hardly asked that I believe can answer a lot of questions about religion. This question being, what makes a god a god? I posed this question to y'all on Twitter and YouTube to see if anyone would answer the question correctly. I received a couple of funny responses, some that I understood where they were coming from, but then there were those who hit the nail on its head. They gave me the exact answer that I was looking for. So what makes a god a god? You, your mother, your uncle, the guy next door who's on the sex offender registry. The people make the gods that they want to worship. There's definitely a debate to be had with this, but let's agree to disagree so we can keep things moving. So what does this entail if man is the thing that gives a god its ability to exist without needing evidence of their existence? Well, it basically means anything can be a god. A trash can, a piece of paper, even a used condom can have a place up at Mount Olympus. As long as a group of people unanimously agree to worship a thing as their true god, then that thing can become a deity. This also applies to people. A person can absolutely become a god. Mere mortals, raised so high up a pedestal by the people, they practically become untouchable. Jeen Yuhs, through the eyes of Cootie and the media, managed to capture how exactly Kanye West went from being a starving artist to a mad god, hell-bent to show his glory at any cost. The secrets of becoming a god have been revealed, the mysticism surrounding the concept of a god blown away, and all it took was a man with a camera, following a wannabe rapper that he had no idea would soon become the stuff of legends. This is Jeen Yuhs, the creation of a mad god caught on camera.
Who you pray to, my God? The black God. Who you pray to, my God? The brown God. Who you pray to, my God? The white God. Your reaction's kinda odd for giving us the lie. Who you pray to, my God?
I asked the question, what makes a god, and we got our answer. And since we have that answer, let's ask another important question. What makes a person want to worship someone like a god? One could say the answer could be power, having it through conquest or having supernatural abilities. Another might say the answer could be the person that has a message that resonates with millions, so much so it can cause a man to base his entire personality on them. But I think the best way, or really the only way, to become a god is through the arts. People love a good artist, entertainer, for their ability to convey emotions or stories on a level that most people can understand. That's what the people value the most, something that they can understand and relate to. But there's another part of becoming a god that's essential: immortality. Obviously, people can't live forever. Though your mortal flesh must rot at some point, your art can still live on. It's through your paintings and songs that keeps you alive through generations. Beethoven might be dead, but his name and music are still very much alive even after more than 300 years. This is something that Kanye wanted more than anything, to have his work be recognized and have his name forever burned in the mind of the masses. To become a god, Kanye had to show the world his worth. he had to give them a reason to worship him. While a man can become a god, he must never forget that at the end of the day, he is still flesh and bone. To forget this would only lead to his inevitable downfall. To avoid this crash, a man must accept that he has the people's favor, while also denying the temptation of thinking himself superior to those around him. A god from any religion can do this, since they can transcend reality. You can't hold them accountable. But a man does not have such luxuries. So to not go mad, or to have the people turn against you, man must tether himself to the ground so to not fly too close to the sun. Kanye for a while tied himself to the ground, but with some events that would forever change Kanye's life for the worst, that rope would snap in half, releasing Kanye into the open, turning him into a mad god. From the beginning of the documentary, it shows that Kanye was very confident in himself. His ego wasn't self-inflated to where he thought he was the greatest, but it also wasn't so low to where he thought his music was garbage. We all know that that is not true. Kanye had every right to be boastful about his talent because his music was good. So good, in fact, that when Cudi was interviewing rappers from the event, one name kept being brought up.
Kanye West, multi-platinum producer.
Kanye was well known in the Chicago scene, but Kanye needed to do more if he wanted the whole world to know his name. The road to godhood for Kanye was fairly straightforward. If he wanted to make it as a legitimate rapper, then he would have to get a record studio, Rockefeller Studios preferably, to sign him on their team. But this alone proved to have its challenges. Challenges that would be recorded, all thanks to Cudi. These challenges would be done by a motivated black man, determined to do whatever it took to get his chance at the big leagues. Kanye's big play was moving to New York so he'd be closer to all the action. Cudi as well decided to move to New York to continue to film Kanye. I think with how much Cudi admired Kanye, wanting to be there in person when Kanye finally won, he would be considered Kanye's first disciple. Not some disconnected fan, but an integral part to Kanye's story. With both of them now in the Big Apple, it was time to make their move. MTV interviews, in-house sessions with the likes of Dr. Dre and other big names soon gave Kanye the opportunity to join the ranks of Rockefeller Studios. But even then, the recognition of being a legitimate rapper was not yet given to Kanye. They all still saw him as a producer first, rapper second. This did not bode well for Kanye. He would still need to climb if he wanted the whole world to witness his greatness. No producer, rapper, or serious car accident would stop Kanye from reaching the stars. With the release of his album, College Dropout, he finally achieved what he longed for: admiration and prestige. One could say with this major victory, Kanye's fate of becoming a god has been sealed. He would go on to win many more awards after his big win, causing more people to look upon him with awe. It seemed like there was no stopping this newly created juggernaut. But unfortunately for this story, the good times wouldn't last for long. Reality and fiction would soon blur together, a fragile mind soon shattered by madness. The tether connected the giant to the ground, snapping in half. One event that will soon send Kanye spiraling into the void. The incident that turned a god into a mad one.
Got a lot of confidence. Come off a little arrogant even though you're humble and everything. But it'd be important to remember that the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing.
The bond between a mother and child is unlike any other. Some might say that the bond between a mother and son is even stronger. There is no denying that Kanye had a great relationship with his mother, Donda. The documentary made sure you saw their bond throughout all three parts. The way Donda showed so much interest in Kanye, remembering lyrics he wrote as a kid, seemed to be so unreal. Donda went above and beyond when it came to raising Kanye. Donda knew Kanye's talents and potential, so she made sure to remind Kanye to keep himself in check. Not to be too humble, but not so overconfident to where his feet would lift off from the ground. Kanye heeded his mother's advice, for her words were valuable to him. In times when Kanye needed a morale boost, he would head back to Donda to speak with her once again. And when Kanye's career really started to take off and Kanye started to bend under the pressure a bit, Donda was there by his side. Going on tours, interviews, anywhere Kanye went, she was there. Donda was Kanye's tether, the tether that kept him on the ground. As long as she was there in his corner, Kanye would be alright. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end.
How old is this person? 58? Okay, 58. Now, you're doing CPR? Ma'am, is she not breathing at all?
The connection between the giant and the ground was now severed. Donda's death hit Kanye so hard, it forever changed his psyche. The old Kanye has been replaced with the new Kanye. The mad god has been created. The documentary even had a clip of Kanye at a concert weeks after his mother's death that first showed us Kanye beginning to fly high up in the air.
She was here. She would tell me to get on that stage and kill it, dog.
From then on, Kanye's mental state would continue to decline. His music brought him higher up to the clouds, but his mind was going downhill, with no sight of Kanye getting better in the distance. Controversy after controversy, Kanye went from being just famous to now being both famous and infamous. Even with the things that he said and done, the people still hold Kanye up. As long as Kanye kept making good music, he could almost get away with anything. In the early 2010 era, Kanye was showing signs that he wasn't taking the loss of his mother well. But mentally, he was still there. At this period, people would say Kanye is an asshole, or he had his head shoved way up his ass. But no one was saying Kanye was crazy, mentally unstable. Now moving closer to the present, if you were to say that Kanye West was mental, the majority of people would agree with you. Small things he did before that would be considered rash were now amplified by 10. The people look up and they see Kanye doing things that are so strange. It gets to a point where one might ask if there's even an answer to all this madness. This strange behavior attracts more attention. People look to Kanye for his next big outburst, rather for his next new album. One of the saddest parts of the documentary was watching Cootie's reaction to Kanye's descent into madness, where before Cootie would record every single aspect of Kanye, now was turning the camera off whenever Kanye began to ramble about nonsense. Throughout the entire documentary, Kanye was rambling, but Cootie kept the camera rolling. So seeing Cootie abruptly turning off the camera when Kanye began to talk about his convoluted plans, you couldn't help but to feel disturbed. You could feel Cootie's disturbance through the lens. Even the disciple was beginning to doubt his master's stability. Will Kanye get better? I doubt it. Will he ever fall off? Kanye did so much for the music industry that the thought of him being forgotten is almost laughable. His legacy has been secured as one of the greatest rappers and producers of his generation and beyond. Yet many will know him as the man that had it all, yet had no grasp of reality. Whatever the case may be, Kanye West is without a doubt a god of the 21st century. A god that went mad because he let himself go too high in the air. While everyone is able to see Kanye, one question remains. Is Kanye able to see himself, even when he's looking directly into a mirror?